What's up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Rest Day. It is Monday, the 4th of December, a fantastic day for a rest day. Week 3 of documenting this training block into the 100-miler that I got coming up in April over in UTV Canyons. This week, I want to talk about what happened last week, pretty much what we're looking forward to this week. There is a race this weekend, so it is a race week for me, so I will be answering a bunch of questions about that race as well, the Backyard Ultra. In the comments, I have a bunch of questions, so just so I didn't forget. So if you have comments, leave them in the comments section. I will see them. I'll bring them up, and we can talk about all of those things that we got going on. First, let's recap last week and let everybody know where I've been and where I'm going, I guess you'll say. I'm looking over here at Training Peaks. My current CTL or fitness score is 49, so slightly down from last week, but that's to be expected. I tapered in this week, knowing that I was going to have a race week coming up. We did last week, if we remember, we got all the way up to like 45 miles or so. What did we do last week? We did 55 miles last week, so just coming off the week we just had. I got 32 miles in total for the week. Just under 2,000 feet of change. Pretty nice training. Stress score of 309. Fatigue, form, all of those scores are right where I need them to be. Didn't really miss any workouts this week, which was really, really nice. Monday last week, we did the podcast and we did the rest day. On Tuesday, we got out and did 5 miles, 55 minutes, did some rolling and stretching. Wednesday, we did some 7 minutes at the aerobic ceiling, so the high end of my zone 2. We did that in just under an hour. We also did core that day. Rolling and stretching is going to be pretty much every single day. Thursday, we had a nice 5-mile easy run. We worked on glutes and core as part of strength for Thursday. On Friday, I had a cross train, so I rode the bike for 45 minutes, just loosen up the legs, keep the legs nice and loose. And then a mini mobility session. We did some wall sits, some banded work. I gotta stop right there because this is something that's been totally new to my training, which is like banded work, resistance band work. I've always done like calisthenic stuff, but I always try to stay kind of away from the barbell. So I never thought to really use in resistance bands. And here's the beauty of bringing in a coach and things like that. So bringing in the resistance bands into this past week, I'm really starting to feel that difference. I'm really starting to feel that change of adding those resistance bands. I'm carrying more fatigue, which I like, but in a good sort of way. So yeah, we've been doing glute bridges with clamshells with bands, air squats with bands, wall sits with bands, all resistance bands. It's just been really, really nice. We got out on Saturday for an 11.7 mile run. I did have a 10-mile run on the schedule, but got to go out and run with a buddy, the guy that's pacing me in Canyons. And yeah, it was nice out. We took the long way home, and I ended up getting a little more than I needed for the day, but 11.7 miles, 2 hours, 15 minutes, some running and stretching. Finished out the week yesterday with 5 more miles, nice and easy. And like I said, that got me to 5 hours and 41 minutes of running for the week. With everything else, just under 10 hours with all the strength and other custom work that I've been doing. So a very, very, very nice week. Now, what does that mean going into this week? Well, this week we have a race week coming up, and the race starts on Saturday morning. That Saturday morning race is a Backyard Ultra format. So if you've never heard of a Backyard Ultra, it is essentially a last man standing, last woman standing event. The only rule is that you have to be at the start line every single hour to complete a 4.1 mile loop. Why 4.1 miles? Well, if you complete 24 hours, that's 100 miles. So they essentially took 100 miles divided by 24. I think it's like 4.12 or 4.2 something. There's definitely a fraction in there, but the longer you're out there, the less rest you got. So if you go out and run hard and you run at 35 minutes for 4 miles, you're going to get yourself a nice 25 minutes rest. If you go out there and run 50 minutes, you're going to get yourself 10 minutes of rest. So it's a little bit, there's a lot going on. This will be my second Backyard Ultra. And once I get to the questions, I'll talk a lot about what I'm bringing from that first Backyard Ultra into this Backyard Ultra. But first, let's talk about, like, am I training and what does that really look like? Because Canyons is number one, right? And I have other things on the schedule that I want to do, but canyons is still always going to be number one. So I in no way, shape, or form am going to jeopardize any bit of training. Whether, like I said, I can go in there and thrash myself on Saturday, but there'll be no overuse injuries. There'll be none of that going on. I have my ego will not beat, my goal of what I want to do at canyons and what I want to do rim to rim to rim in March and pacing my buddy to his first marathon in February. I have too many other things on my plate that I want to accomplish before I start to worry about, like, do I need to do a certain amount of loops or get a certain amount of miles in this backyard ultra to like make my ego feel better. So going into this week, we're still going to run. I took my rest day today and got an awesome foam roll session in. And the more I foam roll and the more I start to do of this mobility stuff, it takes me back to my days, because I'm going online and I'm looking and watching, what people are foam rolling, different techniques, different types of foam rollers, because things change and I haven't really done it in a long time. But there are certain things that I must reiterate every single week, and I'll continue. Like, please, I beg you, do not roll your IT bands. Your IT band is for stability. They're supposed to be, quote, stiff. They're supposed to be rigid. Please do not roll your IT bands. Have fun. Roll your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, your calves. Please do not roll your IT band. I just beg you. And if you have questions about that, leave them in the chat, like specifically why you just please don't roll your IT band. Also, do not foam roll your lower back from like your waistline to your rib cage, right? The arch of our spine, you're just putting a ton of pressure on your spine when you are foam rolling from your rib cage to your waistline, right? And you also don't have that added support of your entire rib cage. So when we're foam rolling, guys, make sure that we're staying from our rib cage up to our shoulders. Please, I don't care how you foam roll, but I do know from my education and fitness and CrossFit and everything, coaching, like, you should not be rolling. I'm not going to tell people what to do, but you should not, but I am right now, damn it. You should not be foam rolling those IT bands and especially those lower backs. So please think about that. Tomorrow is going to be Tuesday. We're going to start the week out. My usual nice, like 5-mile loop. That's like a perfect loop for me. I love that 5-mile loop. And then tomorrow we're going to do some mini mobility. Not going to crush things too much. Wall sits have been really blowing up my quads for whatever reason. So I do have wall sits on the schedule tomorrow. We'll see exactly how they go. I feel really, really good from this rest day. So we'll see. But definitely lateral banded walks. I have some glute bridges with some clamshells and then some rolling as well. We're going to do on Wednesday, we're going to do 5 more miles, but now we're going to touch the top end of that zone 2 fitness. So tomorrow I'll probably run with my heart rate like 125 to 135 tops. Where on Wednesday, I'll do the same mileage, but I'll push that intensity up to the higher end of zone 2, which for me is like right in that 140, 141 zone. That'll take about 15 to 20 seconds per mile off, but that will still be very, very comfortable, still an endurance pace for me, and still something that I can handle without carrying too much fatigue. On Thursday, we are just going to do active recovery, 30 minutes, which for me is probably going to be a bike ride. If I can get in the pool, I'll swim a little bit, but it's been hard to get in the pool. So I'll probably just do a bike ride. I like to ride on Zwift and do things like that, as well as some more mobility, some core work, nothing crazy. On Friday, the day before the race, I like to run the day before. I know some people would like shut it down, but and it's something I discussed with coach. I like to keep moving, not, like I'm a big fan of like taper is, keep the same intensity, just lower volume. So if I was going to run, maybe tomorrow I run 5 during taper, I'll run 3. I'll keep the same intensities, but I'm only going to run 3 miles on Friday. And the beauty of racing and the beauty of a schedule is nothing is written in stone, guys. So if I get to Friday and I'm just feeling like I need a rest day or I don't feel as fresh as I want to feel going into the race, then no means will I run on Friday. I will gladly take off on Friday to do so. But right now, going into the race, nothing crazy. I just have like 13 miles, 5, 10, 13 miles to run leading up into the race. So nothing crazy at all. All right. Sorry for the pauses. I got to take it. Thirsty. All right, so that will be this week. And we'll talk about definitely next week's episode will be dedicated strictly to the race. But now I'll bring in a couple questions, and some of these questions will answer, you know, what my plans are, strategies. But if there are any more questions about the Backyard Ultra or just the training or canyons or anything, guys, please, this is much easier for me if you are asking questions in the chat. If you are listening to this on Apple Music or on Spotify, we stream every single Monday night at 8 p.m. So please hop in and make my job easier by giving me something to talk about. Let's take a look from Instagram. The first question I got here is, how many laps are you going to go for? So I'll tell you this. The last one I did in June. It was like, I think it was Father's Day weekend, to be honest. And there were so many differences between that race and this race, but there's definitely things that I need to bring from that race into this race. And I'll tell you a couple of things I learned and a couple of things that aren't really going to really be that applicable. But that should give an answer of how many laps am I going to be going for. I went into that race in June. I'd really walked a 50K coming off the broken ankle, but never really ran a 50K. So I had the goal of like doing a 50K. The other thing was it started at 6 p.m. at night. So it was essentially like 2 hours of daylight because it was June, and then right into the night. So that's definitely a factor. It was raining, not raining hard, but like would rain hard and then not rain at all. Then rain hard and not, I couldn't stay dry. That was another thing. I definitely was underprepared as far as like food and nutrition goes when I did that first one. That was a big deal. And that's something that I need to change for this one. Also, there was 600 feet of change per loop. So that was definitely something I didn't think about. Like, I looked at it and I was like, all right, that's like doable, but I didn't think about how that was going to, build over time. Jacob, great question, buddy. I'll definitely answer that question next. So going into this race, I want to beat the last one. So I want to get 50K, but I think more realistically, I'm going to reevaluate every 50K or so. I have it in me to go 24 hours. I have 100 miles on my legs, on my fitness, on my confidence. But talking like I was just mentioning with canyons, I don't know if that's going to be completely necessary. Another big difference between the last one and this one is the last one had like 65, 70 people in it. This one has over 200, like 230 people. And it starts at 8 a.m. So it's the morning. It's winter. It's going to be 30 degrees, things like that. So it's flat, which is nice, flatter. So I'm going to be able to handle that. But I think I'm going to reevaluate every 50K. If I get 100K in and there's still a grip of people left, I might shut it down at 100K. I'm not going to lie. I want to do well. I want to be top 10. I think I'll be very happy with. But if we get to 100K and there's still like 50, 60 people in there, like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I want to do well, but I think how many laps? Let's just call it 100K. I don't know how many laps that is. That's got to be, there's 8 hours or so like that. I don't know. No, 8's 32. So yeah, like 16 hours maybe. I think that's kind of where I want to go. That answers the how many laps will I go. I'll go at least 100K. If I don't, something really, really went wrong. Jacob Mooney, what's watch settings? Just start it and leave it, or you're hitting that lap button each time. So what I did last time and what I will probably do this time as far as my watch settings are concerned, I think last time I just had my heart rate and my pace. I did not have total miles on there, and I'm glad I didn't, because I think I would have like overthought that too much. I realized it was 50K in my last one because a lot of people like dropped out after that milestone. So I was like, where the hell did everyone go? And then some guy was like, yeah, a lot of people drop at the big round numbers, marathon, 50K, 100K, things like that. So I was like, oh, I guess we're at 50K. That's sweet. And I ended up going like 1 or 2 more loops after that. But I pretty much start my watch. And then when I get back, I press stop. And then when the new hour starts, I start it again and relap. So my lap, I'll start a lap at the end of every loop. So yeah, I'll reset that and just have my lap time. So that's what I had on there. I had lap time, lap pace, and that was it. When I got back to the finish line, I pressed stop. So it was like paused. I did whatever I had to do for like 10 or 12 minutes. And then when it was 3, 2, 1, go, I pressed start and then lap to restart my next lap. And that's probably what I'll do again. I liked not knowing what mileage I was at. I liked focusing one lap at a time. It made things really, 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 really easy. And I think that's what I'm going to do again. All right, we got that. Do you have a strategy? All right. The answer is yes. And the last race, I did not have a strategy. I had no idea what to expect. So the last time I did a backyard ultra, I was like, I'm just going to go for as long as I can. And I got caught up early. I went in with quote unquote, like thinking I had a strategy. I had practiced like 20 miles or 5 loops or so. I thought I was going to do like a much slower pace, but like I got caught up in like just not the atmosphere, not trying to win, but like just enjoying people's company. Like people were going out and running like 10:30s, 11-minute pace, which in hindsight was a bad idea. But in the time, I'm like, I can handle 11, 12 minutes easy, like no problem. That's not a big deal for me, at least for 50K or so. And what I found was like that 600 feet per chain for that 600 feet of change definitely added up. Like of coming from Long Island, I really didn't have a lot of altitude under my belt. So that was definitely very, very interesting. And I also didn't realize how even that high aerobic ceiling pace was going to add up over time. And I'll tell you this, for as far as strategy, I will be walking out of the start. And if anybody's going to be there and you don't see me walking out of the start, you can call bullshit on me immediately. I will be walking way more than I did. And what I've also found out since then in June is that I don't really operate well, like running really, really slow. Like for me, I'm either like running at my nice aerobic zone 2 pace or I need to walk. Like when I start going under that, when I start going like, too slow, my gait gets screwed up. I start using different muscle groups, so I'm either going to be jogging or running. That's definitely something that I've learned as far as strategy is concerned. So I love Jesse Isler's like 7 minutes, walk 3 minutes. I don't know if I can walk 3 minutes. So I might do like 8 minutes and then walk 2. But I don't think I'm going to be coming in under 50. I found last time that like 50 to 52 miles was like 50 to 52 minutes, like having an 8-minute rest was like perfect. And then like if I really needed to pee or if I had a code brown, I would just pick it up a little bit for that one loop and then get back or so. Like it seems like you don't have a lot of time, but you really do. So that's like as far as my strategy on running. Nutrition is going to be the same. I'm going to have 500 milliliters of liquid that I'm probably going to carry with me. In the beginning, I was like, oh, it's only 4 miles last time. I'm not going to bring water with me, but I found myself like chugging water in that 8 minutes and I didn't like it. So I'm probably going to carry my handheld, sip 500 milliliters of probably just electrolytes, a light electrolyte blend and water, mostly an electrolyte pill kind of guy. But just for flavor purposes, I'll probably just have a little bit of electrolytes in a 500 ml bottle and then 250 cals every single hour, whether that's Speed Nut or whether that's another awesome source or a quarter PB&J. But like my body, I can take down 250 calories an hour, 300 at the max. So that's kind of where I'm going to go. You could see it back there. I'm also a ketone IQ guy. I love the stuff. Every 4 hours, I'll hit a ketone IQ. That's going to help with just mind fog. It's definitely going to help me with appetite suppression. Like I don't feel as hungry when I'm in ketosis, things like that. So that's kind of the fueling strategy is about 1,000 milligrams of not caffeine. That would be a lot. 1,000 milligrams of sodium and other electrolytes every single hour, 250 calories of food, about 30 grams of carbs. That's where my body kind of goes, if you go more than that, you're going to have to take a dump. So 30 to 40 grams carbs is going to be the max there. And then real food, whenever I can eat, I'll eat. In the last year, especially over the summer, knowing that ultras, I was going to have to eat real food or I was just going to get into palate fatigue. I've definitely tried to learn how to eat more real foods and then run. So like eating dinner and then go out and run with a little bit of full stomach. I've definitely become a lot more comfortable running more quote unquote full than I ever have before. So I should be able to take down some pretty normal foods. And then, all your other like ultra things that just make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Like I'll definitely have Coca-Cola there. I'm a big fan of like sour gummies and things like that. I'll take that. But yeah, I think that's the strategy. The strategy is go slow, eat a lot, pretty much eating for 2 hours ahead. If you think of it like that, like you're eating now for 2 hours ahead, and also going to keep in the back of my mind, like if I feel like I'm putting in any effort, I'm probably going too hard. And that's going to be that. But the beautiful thing is too, like I have I have no idea with the field this big. I'm sure there's going to be some studs and some lady studs out there. It's going to be I'm going with a bunch of friends. My wife's going to be there. My couple of my friends. I definitely want to whoop their asses. Like let's not be. I am competitive. I'm not going to lose to my friends. That's not going to happen. But I don't know. I think setting that expectation of 100K and then seeing what happens, I think it's exciting. It's going to be dry at least. I'm pumped to hear that. So, all right. Next question we had from Instagram. If you guys have any noted, if I have any other questions, let me know. This one says, are you bringing a tent and a crew to help you with food and gear? I will have a tent set up. I use a shoe holder. This is a little ultra marathon or backyard ultra life hack. I use a shoe holder that you hang on like the back of a door, and I pretty much just number them according to loops and or number of hours, whatever. And then I'll pre-fill some of those for probably like 12 hours. I mean, after 12 hours, like it's hard to stay super focused on like, being regimented. That's when like, all right, I need a can of Coca-Cola, or I need a Red Bull is going to come in, but I'll have that with like my speed nut every single hour, a ketone IQ every hour, every 4 hours, a quarter of a PBJ every single hour, like all of those things, my electrolyte pills to every single hour. And then when I get back, that'll also help me keep track of time and where I'm at. I'll get back, I'll grab everything out of that shoe holder, boom, I'll hit that, and that'll be hanging right from the tent. I'll have a cooler, so that'll kind of be my chair. And then as far as like crew, I will have some friends and things there during the day. And then what I found out last time, and I plan on doing this either way, whether I'm on one side of the fence or the other, is that the longer the race goes on, the more camaraderie there is. Because like you go out and run an ultra, like you're definitely going to be running with people on the trails, and you're definitely going to like have a couple, like maybe an hour with somebody or a half hour with somebody. But in these, you're pretty much spending you're spending the whole time together, and everyone kind of fits into their place, so to speak. And I remember in the last one, it was the same group of like 10 guys that would go out and we would just run together. And then we'd get back and we all started like kind of crewing for each other. If somebody got back a little quicker, we kind of all knew what we wanted, and we kind of, stuck together. And that was like one of my favorite things about the backyard ultra that I did last time. And I'm hoping that it's like that again, where we can all kind of come together. If we happen to drop out, you stick around for an hour, 2 more hours, and you just help people out. And living so local, it's right by my house. So if it gets to 10 p.m. and, I think I'm going to get ready to go through the night and things like that, yeah, I'm going to be on the phone with my brothers and friends like, hey, you got to get down to Blindberg. You got to come run with me for an hour. You got to come hang out with me for an hour or something just to get me through the night. So yeah, I definitely have people like on standby and on the ready, but I also tend not to really depend on it too much. Like I don't want to be like, oh, son of a bitch, blah, 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 couldn't make it or something like that. And then, I depended on them. So that's kind of like the crew piece. But yeah, I have a full cooler. I think you always need to pack more than you think. If I was going to be somewhere remote, like the last one we did was kind of out there, there was people that brought like stoves, and for people that knew that they were going to be there for 24 hours, they're going to be there through the night, they brought like a lot of stuff. Where I am going to be, especially with how local I am, it's going to be very easy for me to make a phone call and be like, "Hey, can somebody get back and can somebody bring me a pizza? You know, can somebody grab me an egg sandwich? Somebody get me a bagel?" I'll be able to do that, and I'll probably definitely be taking advantage of it. Oh, fantastic question, Todd. Is it trail? What shoes do you plan on running in? I know you definitely asked that because you know I wear like 20 different shoes. It is on trail right now, this time of year where it is, in the park that it's in. It's a pretty rooty kind of park. Typical Long Island, little sandy, not super technical, up or down, flat. I think the loop has 100 feet of change, maybe 200. Um, but it's definitely trail for the day. We will switch to a night trail. I think 5 p.m. now that's daylight savings. And it's getting darker earlier. So a lot of the trails, a lot of the backyard ultras will do that. They'll have like a trail during the day, and then for safety reasons, they'll put you out on like a back road, a carriage road, something that's a little bit more safe. We don't need people blowing out ankles and things at night, especially if you've been going for a couple days. But I will be starting in the Hoka Challengers. So I did Grindstone in the Hoka Challengers. Love them. They're pretty much my everyday. I live a mile from the trails, so they are designed as a road to trail shoe. Not super technical terrain. So that's what I'm definitely going to be starting in. And I have those in two different sizes. So I have them in 11 and 11 and a half. Usually when I get to like 30 miles or so, 50K, my feet, I really start to feel them in the 11s. So I will be switching them up to the 11 and a halves if I need to. I'll have those two. And then at the night, when we get to the night loop where it's going to be on the road, I will be going to the Asics Nova Blast, which is like my daily trainer, which I just love those Nova Blast. My other road shoes are the Topos. But those are a little snappy, a little firm, not too much cushion, especially like when I get to the day loop, I'll already be in 7, 8. And when I get to the night loop, I'll already be in 7, 8 hours. So I'll want that like nice cushy shoe. But I never have, and maybe this is going to be a lesson that I have to learn, or if someone's a little bit more experienced with me, you could tell me. I've never really been like a shoe change guy. Like if my feet feel good, I'm going to keep my shoes on. Like if I don't feel anything, I'm not necessarily going to be, I'm not one of those people like, oh, 50 miles, I got to change my shoes and my socks. I haven't got to that point in ultras yet. Maybe one day I will. But the last backyard I did switch when I went from day to night, but I didn't have such a large knowledge of shoes. So to be honest, I was in the wrong shoes for both the day and the night for that one. And also too, if you didn't know the story of the last one, I didn't make the time cutoff. I will not quit in the chair. That's not going to happen. That's just not in my nature. But I didn't make the time cutoff. I got cut. I pretty much made it back in the eighth loop. I made it back with, I want to say like 10 seconds to spare. Like I'm coming down into the trail. Everyone was in the chute. There's probably like 20 people left. And I had like my duck shorts on. They're like, come on, Ducky, which is funny because my real friends call me Bucky, but they're yelling, come on, Ducky. And as soon as I got in, I was like, oh my God, dude, I am screwed. And then the ding, 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 the bell went off and they turned around and shot me right back out. And at that point, I kind of knew that was going to be my last lap. I think I made it like 2 miles in and I was already past a half hour. So I just turned around and got back. And so that I didn't quit. I didn't make the time cutoff, but that will be how I go out this time. I will not be in a chair. I will walk back. I will do the walk of shame all the way back. Camp 5. What's up, buddy? Let's see what you got. Oh man, no, dude. I'm not an inspiration. Thank you. I am a regular guy doing regular old shit. I'm more inspired by other people, but I appreciate that. And I guess if I can inspire you to get out there and run, that's definitely awesome. I'll take that. And we need to get together soon. It's been way too long. And it's funny that you jumped in here because I can mention like I need to post this on Instagram more when I spoke at Camp Fi, and I can't believe that I let people meet me like that. Like when I walked into that room, you must have been like, wow, this kid's a fat kid, you know, but then you saw me drink for 40 hours straight. And it was probably like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm glad that you got to see that and not just this, because now you get to see like both sides of the equation. All right, here we go. More questions. Thank you so much for the questions. With the triathlon pass, you use speed laces if your feet swell and you don't feel like messing with laces. Great question. I did use the speed laces when I was in tri. I haven't got them in road, but messing with the laces, that's the one thing I've loved about the Speedlands, having those boas. And I know that other companies have those boa lockdowns, but I did a review on that shoe. Best part of that shoe was definitely the fact that you could just click, and then you could also click back. Because in the standard boas, you had to like fully release them, and then they come loose, and then they didn't loosen, click. They only tightened. Where on these ones, you could loosen by one click or also tighten by one click. So I really like that. But I've found out that like the real reason I warm up before a race is because I want to know what my shoes feel like, because I am definitely a guy. And my buddy Ryan that I ran with the other day, he knows that the first mile is going to be me retying my shoes 6 times, because I got to tie the left one, then I got to tie the right one, but then I tied the right one a little bit too tight, so I got to retie the left one, and I just go back and forth, and it takes me a little bit. And that's really what my warm up is. So I haven't messed with the speed laces. I like a nice tight lockdown. And even in tri, I felt like they would get loose over time, if you know what I mean. So like definitely not something that I was like super into when I was even racing tri. So I'll just be, I'd rather like have my feet loose, get like swell, and then like just untie them. And I think too, with more experience, I've learned like when my feet aren't right. I've learned like what pain in my feet is blisters, the wrong sock. It's incredible the things we learn on long runs. But I definitely know like if I'm feeling a little bit of pain here that I don't usually feel, I tied my shoes too tight. Or if I feel a little bit of blister in the arch of my foot, I tied them too loose and my foot sliding. Like I have a relationship. That's so weird. I can't believe I just hear myself talk sometimes. I'm like, you sound like a fucking weirdo. But like, it's true. I have a relationship with each one of my shoes, and I know the battle that I'm going to have with each one of my shoes. And it's not a battle, right? Your shoes, I don't think there's ever going to be a shoe that you could just put on every single time. And you're just like, oh my God, this is the great. Like, I definitely have shoes that, like the Nova Blast, when I put them on, I'm like, my feet are happy. But I know that if my Nova Blast want to be assholes, I know where they're going to hurt my feet. And I know that those are mostly like a little bit of toe, because they have a slightly like narrower toe box. So like I know that if I start to feel a little bit of blistering on that big middle toe, I'm just going to change them out, or I'm going to tie them a little tighter to get that heel way back. I know that if I wear my Speedlands, I'm going to get a blister on my left pinky toe. I just know that every single time. I know that in the toe pose, I'm going to get a little bit of a blister on the arch of my foot, because that toe box is so wide that if I don't tie them perfectly, my feet are just going to slide around. The Challengers, no issues. I want to hate them so badly, but I just don't. I want to hate them so badly. And then I wear the Flux every other, everything else I do. I have a pair of Flux adaptives on, and I'm working with them. I'm getting a relationship with them, because I'd love to talk about them more and promote them, because they're just the shoe that, I like to wear. When I work out, I like to wear them when I'm lifting and things like that. But yeah, I have a relationship with each one of my shoes, and each one of them is a love-hate relationship. What's up, Mike? How are you, bud? Thanks for stopping in. So that's really what the week looks like. It's going to be 13 miles, and yeah. Oh, another good. You got all the questions. Massage gun, foam roll, in between loops. Probably not. I definitely not foam roll. This is like also a little bit of personal belief, but I think that adding that sort of pressure to the muscle isn't great. Massage gun, I'll probably have it. I have like a knockoff of the Theragun. I'll probably have it with me if I feel anything weird. if I was like if this was my A race and I was going for it, guys, I'd have the Mary Poppins bag there. I'd have everything. But like I said, if I'm getting to the point where I think I need to foam roll or massage gun to stay alive, I'll get on the phone with coach and be like, I don't think today's the day, because as I mentioned last week, and I'll mention again, under zero circumstances am I not running on Tuesday as a part of my normal training week. Like, I want my coach knows, and I know, and the conversations I had with him are, we are recovering Sunday, whenever I'm done. And then we're taking my normal rest day on Monday. And then I'm getting right back to action on Tuesday. If I'm going to do anything that's going to jeopardize that, I better have won. Like, if I need to sit and be like, coach, I need Tuesday as well, man. I need to swim. I need one more day. I better have won. And that's kind of where I get back to what I mentioned earlier in this podcast. Like, I need to evaluate every 50K or so, because if I'm not going to win, I really need to think, like, we got bigger fish to fry. We got other things to do. We got a marathon coming up in February with JJ. We got to get him to the finish line. We got rim to rim to rim in March that I'm running with a bunch of savages. So I got to make sure I have that. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to be as far as like the massage gun, foam rolling, and things like that. And I think I'm going to just have enough time just to eat and do those things that I got to do. Will I run with a vest or nothing to stay light? At this point, I don't even really notice my vest anymore, so I wouldn't leave it behind for weight purposes. I'll have it with me in case I don't want to carry the handheld anymore. But I don't think so. I'll have my GoPro on me that I might wear the vest just so I don't have to carry the GoPro every 4 miles. But I'll have it with me, but to be determined. I don't think that I'll wear it. Maybe in the later stages, like I said, when I really don't even want to focus, because I've been in some like gnarly fatigue positions where, like, even in grindstone, I didn't even want to carry my poles anymore. So I guess if I get to the point where I'm like, F this handheld, or I don't want to carry this GoPro for another lap, I'll definitely switch over to the vest. But yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate all the questions. Thank you. If anybody else have any questions? Because like I said, we're rocking 13 miles this week. Then we're going to crush. Full send as always. Full send the New York City Marathon, blew up at 22 miles. Full send the Brookhaven Trail Half Marathon, got 10th overall, 9th overall, PR'd my half marathon. Always a full send, and this is going to be no different. Not a full send as far as pace is concerned, but I'm going out there. I want to go to a dark place. I want to get my face absolutely just kicked in. I want to feel pain. I want to be grateful. I want that gratitude. I want it to hurt so good. World domination. I want to just go for it. Fuck around, find out. That's where it's going to be, but I want to have some fun. There's going to be a lot of cool people there. Some people coming in from out of town to hang out. And also just like support the cause. If you're in the Northeast, look it up or get in touch with me, come down, hang out. We'll bring a sleeping bag and a cot if we need to, but the unknown is really the best freaking part of this. Like, my students were asking me today, they're like, hey, how long do you want to go? Or like, how many laps are you going to go? It's like, well, I'm hoping I only have to do 2. I'm hoping 200 people plus do the first loop and they're like, nah, I'm out. And then I only have to do 2 for the win. I have a feeling that's not going to happen, but it's so crazy, even watching the world championships of the backyards. And like, you see people that you're like, these guys are going to go for, and the winners did go for days, but you never know when someone's going to drop. You never know. And there's this guy that was big in the CrossFit community back in the day, Rich Froning. And he said that in every competition he ever been to, even when he was getting thrashed, people would be like, yeah, how your legs feel, how your hands feel. And he was always just like, just a little tight, nothing I can't handle. And that's what, when I am getting beat to shit, All you're ever going to hear from me is I'm a little tight, just a little tight, a little sore in the feet maybe, but nothing I can't handle. And then I will literally be on the start line like, guys, I got 75 more hours in me, and then I'll be out the next round. It goes that quick. So I'm looking forward to like how many times can my brain tell me that I have to quit, and then how many times I just keep on going. That's the beauty of the Backyard Ultra. It really is. It's flatter than my last one. It's going to be a hell of a lot colder, but I can handle it. It's going to be dry. It's going to start in the day, so we're going to do a lot more day loops than we're going to do night loops. It's going to be awesome. So I will be probably logging my wife. My wife will probably take my Instagram for the day. So if you're hearing this before then, you don't follow me on Instagram, you can head over there, Brad Trains. My wife will keep everybody updated. I will have the GoPro, and I will record every lap, and then I'll make a long form content for YouTube and things like that. And then we'll be back next Monday. We'll talk about the race. We'll see if I kept to my expectations, and then we'll get ready to get right back to canyons. Right, this is a short little quiet distraction for canyons, but it's still every single lap I do, I'm going to be thinking of canyons. Get the 100K. And since, I think it's also worth noting they officially named canyons a world major again. If you don't know what that means, you get double the stones, which are lotto tickets into UTMB, but also with it being a world major, they are going to qualify spots to UTMB for age groupers. And I know a lot of people will laugh at hearing me say this, but I want the 40 to 44-year-old age group. I want it. And it's a far stretch now, but I'm going to work. I work really, really fucking hard, and I'm dedicating myself to it. And especially after being humbled at Grindstone, I know the things I need to change. I'm constantly communicating with my coach. My coach knows that I don't want to just finish canyons. I want to go from the drunk 240-year-old, loudmouth asshole to a quiet, humble, dominator of that distance. That's what I want to do. I want to be fitter than I've ever been at 42 years of age. I want people to look back and say, man, remember when you were just trying to get through half marathons, and now, you're taking age group spots in world major events? That's the Brad Finn that you're listening to. And that's what I want. And I'll be okay if I don't get it, but that's the Brad Finn that I want. And that's the Brad Finn you're going to follow, because I'm not going to take my foot off the fucking gas. I'm all in. And I appreciate you guys for being all in with me. It's going to be fucking dope. All right, guys, let's go send it. I'll catch you next week. As always, I appreciate all of you. And even though there's only 5 of you, I appreciate you just as much now as I will when there's 5,000 people. 5,000. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Have a good night. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. And I appreciate it. Have a good one.